Greetings. Welcome to Busme US. I'm Dr. Polar Human, and this screencast will show you the basic parts of the network plan file. The purpose of this screencast is to get you familiar with the components of a network and how they are defined. In earlier screencasts, I created a Busme transportation site for the New Paltz Loop bus in New Paltz, New York. Looking at their map, we can see that there are two routes. One that goes down Prospect Street and down Henry Dubois Drive, and the other that just goes down Main Street to the ShopRite Plaza, turns around and comes back. Both routes take a left on Route 7 and follow the same path around the SUNY campus all the way back to the beginning. We can see from their schedule that the buses alternate, showing a small dash under stop 4, which we assume means that the bus does not travel on the path that includes Prospect Street and Henry Dubois Drive. I'm not from New Paltz and I haven't ridden the bus, but I think we can reasonably assume that there are two different routes from this information. In an earlier screencast on the top-level administration of a Busme transportation site, I took the liberty of creating two separate routes for the New Paltz bus loop, and I surreptitiously gave each of the routes the codes of 1 and 2, respectively. To see this, I'll navigate to my working deployment and then into my network called the New Paltz Loop. From here, you can see that I have two routes with a combination of 23 journeys. Each route has one service and stipulates the operational dates and the days the particular journeys operate on this route. Looking at the map of a network, I can see two different routes, and I may be able to differentiate them by highlighting them on the map, which I do by floating the mouse over the name and code of a particular route on the right side. Looking at a map of Route 1, we can see all the journeys for this particular route. They are listed on the right of the map and also down below in the table. We can see that they are actually journeys as they have start times, so this means there's an actual bus starting to travel along the route. Well, we can keep digging down to the stop points and timing links on each journey, but the real question is, how did we get here? We got here by processing a network plan. And as I said in a previous screencast, a network plan is a folder of CSV files. Here I have a folder called New Paltz Loop, and if we open it up, we'll see that we have two different CSV files. There is one for each route that I created. I'll open up the CSV file for Route 1, and that is done using my LibreOffice Calc file. Now what happens here is LibreOffice Calc wants to know what kind of CSV file this is, and there's several options. The ones you really have to pay attention to are make sure that your separator is a comma and your text delimiter is a double quote. And we're pretty sure on that. We'll just hit the OK. And this brings up our spreadsheet program. Now we're getting the inside look at a CSV file for a particular route service. We start with the route name. The route name must be in the first column, and the subsequent columns are the route code, the route name that you actually have for the route, and the route sort. The route code is an alphanumeric code that you can use, like 330 or 220X. The New Paltz loop is a string that also just labels the route you're defining. And the sort is a special number. It's only a number, and it's used to sort the routes amongst your other routes in the displays. The next line is the start date of the service, and then the next line after that is the end date of the service. And these are in year, month, day formats. Line 4 is the exception dates. So if you had exception dates within this time frame that this service did not apply, you would put them in subsequent columns all the way as many as you needed. Something like January 1st is a holiday, the schedule wouldn't be applied. The next line is the direction. The direction is merely just a one-word description of what you want this service to represent. Right here we're calling it round trip. We could have called it loop. Most bus systems might have something like inbound or outbound. The next line is fairly complicated. The first word is stop points, the next word is days, the next word is display name. After that is the names of each of your stop points. And you can see that they correspond with what we have on the maps here. The next line is labeled with locations, and it contains the geolocations of each stop. Underneath each stop, you need to have the longitude and latitude separated by a comma of the particular stop. Now, if we wander over back to the stop points line, we'll wander over to the right and see a very important aspect of this structure, and that is the note column. The note column is the last thing in the route path, and this is the last stop point. And then we have a note. In this column down below, you may put little notes for your journeys. After the note column is a KML file. The KML file must be consistent with the information about the stop point names and the geolocations. The KML file, if we click on it and look at it, we can see it's quite large and it has a lot of longitude and latitudes in it. And what it does is it draws the path. Now this is a fairly complicated file and we can show you what its structure is, but we have a tool for you to help you create this structure. That being said, now the only thing we have left is what a bus schedule looks like. Each line is a journey. And this journey starts at 7:30 in the morning. This journey starts at 8:30 in the morning, and so on. What goes in the first column is the route code of the journey. You may have different route codes depending on your file, but for now we'll just leave with the one we defined here. But you still must put it there. That signifies that this line is actually a journey. So we put the route codes in each one of these. And the route code here is 1. The next column is the days the actual journey operates. We have definitions for this. M is for Monday, T is for Tuesday, W is for Wednesday, R is for Thursday, F is for Friday, S is for Saturday, and N is for Sunday. The next column contains the display name of the bus. This is so your riders can correlate the name on the app with the name on the bus. The next column starts the list of times that the bus leaves or arrives at a particular stop point. You must have a time specified in each column underneath a stop point. In the note column, you may have a short note, typically a single number or a symbol, but it is not required. The note is so that you may distinguish particular journeys, and many typical bus schedules have them. So all in all, what I'm filling in this spreadsheet with looks like a typical bus schedule. In fact, I was able to scrape the times from this bus schedule, and with a little fancy text editing, I was able to put them into the spreadsheet. The difficult part of constructing a route service CSV file is constructing the header and the KML content. Furthermore, the KML content must be consistent with the stop points and their geolocations associated in the CSV file. The KML string contains the graphical path data between the stop points along which the journeys of this file travel. Now, you may create the header of the CSV file manually, but it is a daunting task. you would have to create a KML file that contains the graphic path data between the stop points of the route. You could do that with the aid of some tools such as Google Earth. However, you must also follow a strict structure in the KML file so that it may be processed by Busme. Alternatively, not all is daunting. We have an online tool that will create the route service CSV file with the proper header for you. Then all you need to do is enter the rows of times for each particular journey. The tool we use to create the header part of the CSV file is called the Journey Builder. We will explain the Journey Builder in a subsequent screencast. After creating and editing the CSV files, I place them into a folder such as this one. New Paltz Loop, and here are the two CSV files, one for Route 1 and the other for Route 2. Now all I need to do is create a zip file from that, and this could be as simple on most systems as right-clicking and finding the zip archive option. And I'll do that, and magically what happens is I get the New Paltz Loop zip file. And that zip file is just a single file that contains all the files that were in this folder. Next, what I can do is just go down to Upload New Definition, and we get to the Upload Plan File page, and we'll choose our file and choose our zip file, and here's our zip file that we just created, and we'll say to use that one, and then we'll hit Update Network. And we have done this in the screencast before. And you can see our job is currently scheduled for processing, and we will wait for the background jobs to start processing this plan file. And there we have it. Our services, routes, and journeys are pretty much the same as what we've had before. This concludes the screencast of the anatomy of a network plan file. My next screencast will address creating the CSV files using the Journey Builder tool. I'm Dr. Polar Human for Busme US. Thanks for listening and enjoy the ride.